Good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but it's just time that I share a testimony concerning my mother. Um, as some of you know from previous videos that I've made, I have shared with you that my mother was on drugs my whole life. Basically, from the age of 2 or 3, my grandmother pretty much raised me. The one that you all see in my cooking photos, she raised me up until about 8 years old. And at that time, my mother then took me away from my father and my grandmother without them knowing, and took me back to another state that we lived in. During those few years that I lived with her, I would say age 9 till about 11, maybe 12, I experienced a lot of heartache. For one, my mother, I never remember her telling me that she loved me. Never. And now that I think about it, I seriously can't remember one time that she told me. She was never home. She had 2 babies over those years that I was with her. And I ended up being the one changing the diapers and staying home from school and making the bottles. We constantly had our lights turned off. I don't remember ever having cable. I remember having a house phone maybe once or twice. She wasn't a cook, so she would cook sometimes. I remember we had roaches. It was an embarrassment. People would talk about me and my brother. When we go to school, we got teased a lot. A lot of the kids at school saw my mom using drugs in their neighborhood, and they would tease me at school about it. And I'm going somewhere with this. I am in no way saying this to talk about my mother. So let me make that straight. I'm sharing this story because somebody needs to know that you need to forgive your parent that has chosen drugs or alcohol over you. It's not to help them. It's to help you. It's going to free you when you forgive them. We have to look at it like this. Everybody goes through something. And people make choices based off of however they grew up or what they've been through. And I know it's hard as a child to just forgive your parent for not being there for you. My mom wasn't there for me. She didn't get to help me with prom or be there for my first date. Or I never had a conversation with her about, boys. Even, our monthly things, for women, we never cooked together. I mean, it's none of that. My mother, I don't remember her teaching me nothing but what not to do. And for that, I appreciate her, to be honest with you. For one, I look at it like this. She did not have to have me. She could have aborted me, which she did want to, but thank God she didn't, right? I don't fault her for that. I don't even blame her for all the time she wasn't there for me, because I knew it was a deeper issue. Because most of the time, parents want to be there for you, but they can't because they're struggling with something. For the women, for the parents out there that chose drugs and alcohol over your child, I want to let you know that I forgive you. If your child hasn't forgiven you, I forgive you in their place until they can come around. Hopefully they will. And just know that God knows. He knows what you went through. He knows all of that. Because one thing about it, I haven't been in that position, but I know it has to be hard to be somewhere on drugs or alcohol and knowing, your kids are on your mind. And a lot of times people are just trying to suppress their pain and their frustration, being separated from their children. But for the children, those that, you may be adults now, you may hate your parent. You may even talk to them, but you got something against them. You need to get that straight. Because one thing about it, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to change anything. We cannot change the past. Only God can do that, and He's not going to do that. It happened for a reason. Go back over in your mind what happened and get the positive out of it. Allow God to show you the blessings in what you went through. Once we were taken from my mother by child division service, them people. They took us away from my mother. And when they did, that was the best thing they could have happened for one. Even though I lived from relative to relative to relative, even though I didn't even feel like I fit in with nobody. I always felt like the outcast, the black sheep, because that's what I was. But I tell you one thing, I got a lot of positiveness from that situation. I learned how to cook from different relatives, starting with my grandmother. I learned how to be a lady. I learned things that I would not have learned from my mother if I would have stayed with her. If I would have stayed with her, I may not have turned out the way I turned out. So we have to try to look at the positives and things that happen in our lives and not focus on the negative, because we can't change anything about it. And I'm telling you right now, God is good. I don't care what happens in our lives and what He allows. He is good no matter what. Nothing He does is wrong or bad or evil. God is good. And just because something happens in our life, it's not His fault. You know, we have to stop putting blame on God. Like, God, why did you let this happen? No, no. We ain't even worthy to begin with to even be breathing right now. We're not even worthy. So we have to start just thanking God for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because I promise you, there is a blessing in every negative thing that happens in our life. We just have to, realize it. And with that being said, I'm going to stop talking. The main point is forgive those that, hurt you, especially through substance abuse. The pain is real, the struggle is real, but I'm here to tell you that Jesus Christ will deliver you. He has healed my heart completely and years ago. To the point now I can talk about things. I used to burst out in tears, and I used to cry and think about all the time my mother wasn't there. Why didn't she want me? But you know what? God is good and he's a healer. And I'm here to share with you, he is a healer. Just receive it. Just try him. I'm not sitting here this joyful for nothing. I promise you. Obviously, there's truth to it. So with that being said, y'all be blessed, and I'll see y'all next time.